How to handle haters can be a very tough question for some people to answer. But if it were for me to provide you with an answer, I would tell you straightforward that you literally don't need to handle those unless they're aggressively trying to poke at you physically and harm you and the such. If they're just spewing words and the such, don't bother much with what they're saying. Remember that you live in a sick society where everyone, well, in a sick society, ignorance kind of reigns supreme. In ignorance, people feel that they are alone. In ignorance, people feel that they must live as far away from the others as possible. And in a sick society, well, everything is, well, not only a loop, but it is far more accentuated. It is far hastened, amplified, because in misery, people feel that they are alone, abandoned. All their issues, all the problems, all their misaccomplishments feel that they are somewhat tenfold in both weight and probability to happen again. The more you focus on something, the problem is it's gonna sound or feel, better said, it's gonna feel as if it's much worse than it initially was because now you're, getting more and more used to the expectation of another expectation. See, in misery, typically there are two contrasting expectations. You'll want to break out of your misery, but at the same time, being used to the fact that you're not gonna achieve anything or that you're not good enough or whatever your unfortunate bad programming may be, well, you're gonna expect to fail again and again and again. And the depression that will come from both sides and it will crush you. You will get literally sandwiched in between those because your life will want something better. You will have an expectation of yourself to make something better. And unfortunately, on the other side, you'll have the expectation to simply fail yet again. Meeting these two expectations is what people might think. But see, theoretically, you meet both of them because every time you do something, even if you think you failed, at least you tried it compared to other people who prefer not to do anything at all. When it comes to expectations, you have to understand your expectation is nothing else but an emotion. You got used to a little bit of theater of being, I don't know, humiliated by people or being told limitative ideas, limitations, being shoved down your throats, all other people's incapacities, hatreds, misaccomplishments, and the such. This is the result of a sick society, and these cycles feel more and more crushing the more you are surrounded by such people. See, these people, they don't care much about you. They're just a coalescence of misery. They're just a coalescence of whatever they have accumulated from the others. And, well, that's a problem in a way, right? When they become a coalescence of other people's misery, see, you're always going to be bombarded by other people's misery. You're always going to be bombarded by their lack of empathy, right? They just become fully compulsive. Everything bad must happen to you as well, and they must pull you down, else they wouldn't feel any way, shape, or form good, right? Don't forget, people are somewhat of a reflection of how they feel within. So if they only spew bad words at you, obviously they're not gonna feel happy. Maybe they're gonna smile, maybe they're even gonna laugh at you. But ask yourself one genuine question. When's the last time those fuckers actually genuinely laughed? Because in the end, you can laugh by yourself, you can enjoy something, but those people, they're just fully invested into their misery. You, something small, insignificant happens to you, they're gonna call it as if there's some kind of godly punishment against you, that there's something bad against you, that you're bad and you're being punished by something. Like literally anything they interpret as going bad in your life, they will definitely enjoy making your life hell just because that happened. These people don't bother too much with those. You have to learn a single balance, but that cannot be explained in words. A lot of people will be telling you all sorts of things, and the most prevalent titles you'll be finding around are like how to control this, how to control that. Why is everyone making catchy titles like that? Because in an ignorant world, everyone lacks control. And, well, obviously, everyone wants attention. You don't know whether those videos will tell you genuine information or not. But, well, trying is always worth a shot. And in the end, one has to understand you don't have to control anything. What you want to control is only yet again another expectation. And you don't want expectations in misery because you know what will happen. The moment you have an expectation while feeling misery, the opposite expectation will also pop up. Because don't forget, if you are miserable, you are living in a surrounding where people have been most likely programming you that you're not good enough, that nothing is good for you, definitely not for you, or whatever, this and that. So one has to understand when such thoughts crawl within your mind, one has to become more and more aware of why those thoughts are crawling into your mind. And the answer is very simple. They're crawling into your mind because you've been listening to those for so long. You became in a way conditioned by those because you listened for those for so long, or they were told to you by your parents, by your neighbors, by adults, and to children, typically adults are almost like gods. So the problem is now you simply embraced those, but there is literally nothing to support those. Why are you, unworthy of something? Who decided that? An invented god by some miserable fuckers? Uh, some idiots who don't do anything with their life? Why would you be less worthy than them? Because they're saying about everyone else that they're not worthy. Don't worry, they're telling it about you because they're feeling that they're unworthy as well. It's just that some people simply crack much easier than the others when it comes to pain, to suffering, and the such. So when they suffer, they end up thinking that they must impose that upon the others because obviously everyone wants to socialize. And, well, obviously, people who are miserable, they will always want to socialize because they're feeling alone and abandoned. So they only can socialize with people who are similar to them, right? Who suffer at least as much as them. If you make the others suffer more, perhaps they might even ask for your help. So understanding how a sick society functions, how the misery makes people's compulsions push them in a direction or another, well, that's one point. And, well, people have to keep up with life because life is not going to wait for you. If people just want to be miserable to you and you have to cope with them, well, just let it be. But if you can defend yourself physically pretty well, the point is just set some good boundaries. The point is, if you cannot physically defend yourself and those people might become aggressive, well, the problem is you don't have enough good friends. You need to make some friends somewhere. If you're just the only one and they are wholly miserable and you're the only one there, well, unfortunately, that's a sign you need to move out of that prison. Maybe it's your job, maybe it's your family, and you don't have the money. Well, you constantly have to realize that you have to work for something, do something to simply allow yourself to move away from there. It's not good to stay in a place where you're surrounded by toxic people, even if it is financially comforting. Because honestly, even if you, let's say, you go out into the world, you don't find a job, and you die of starvation, well, that might be unfortunate for some people, yes? Many will say it's unfortunate. But will you consider this idea of somewhat, let's call it liberation, if you pass away? Wouldn't you consider this at least a more acceptable point? Or let's call it a risk compared to living 30, 40, 50 extra years with the same toxic people or even worse toxic people who will literally traumatize you for life and will make your life hell? Like, a lot of people, when they're miserable, what do they wish? They wish they have died. When something bad happens to them, what's going on? They wish they no longer want to die, yes? This is how miserable people exist. They never have any direction. They never know what they want. You have to understand these people, they lack a spine. They don't take decisions for themselves. They just like the easiest, cheesiest way possible in life. You don't want to be like those. You have to learn how to cope with their negativity. When you come back home, take some showers, go to the gym, do things, increase your physical stamina, increase your muscle capacity so that maybe you can actually defend yourself. Learn from psychology how to build great boundaries with people. Learn how to become as boring as possible for those people. Because many of these miserable fuckers, they thrive when you answer back, when you become angry. Because don't forget, whoever angers you controls you. So you don't want to fall into their games. Learn how misery functions, how their subterfuges function. What do they want from you ultimately? They just want attention, right? So the point is, don't give it to them. Always focus on what you have to do, especially at work, where you have to simply do your own stuff. Focus on that. Let the dogs bark, and if they bite, bite them back. But preferably not at work, because you don't want troubles. And make sure you don't get into trouble with the law, because you live in a sick society which always favors the weak. It always favors the narcissists because they're gonna poke at you. They're gonna even become physically aggressive. If you do them something, they're gonna start crying, and the miserable sobs will obviously give them more attention. There is no video in this world that will tell you exactly how to cope with such things, where to go, and what to do. I just gave you a few tips because everyone lives their own life in their own environment with the certain specific kinds of people. Some people will teach you that you have to do this, you have to do that. They will probably tell you that you have to control your emotions, you have to control this, you have to control that. You're not going to control anything. The only way you can control how you react to things. That's the only point you can control. If you want to control your emotions, you just have to distance yourself from your logical mind. Because if someone tells a swear to you, your logical mind will tell you that it is logical to either run or to either fight. It is just a compulsion, it is just an impulse. If you give in to these, you will have a big problem. You're always going to end up into trouble. And there's always a choice in life. You either get hurt or you become wiser. The more people swear at you, you will see it's not gonna matter at all. You're just gonna be calm. You're gonna have some periods in life when you're gonna simply have to give up on those swears. You're just gonna have to be by yourself, take a shower, and let that hatred and badness leave your body, leave your system. When these cycles, when you remember those people swearing at you, just distance yourself from the mind. Just stay calm. It will simply pass away. They will come back several times, yes. But just take a shower. Do something that relaxes you in a way. You will feel that you'll be overwhelmed, but in time you will become better at simply distancing yourself from that. Even if you fail to do that, don't ever make an expectation when you're feeling low, because, as I said, expectations always come in a pack. They always come at least two. And it's easy to think that you failed both of those and that you become even more hurt, even more vulnerable. Yes? Don't forget, people love exploiting your vulnerabilities. It takes a lot of strength to show your vulnerabilities. It takes a lot of stability to live in a sick society. And I'm telling you that as a very sensitive person myself. I'm a highly sensitive person to people's energies, and I lived in a very toxic environment, and I still kind of do. The whole world is a toxic environment anyway, so I'm not the only one. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You're appreciated. Take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferenc Power signing out.